which is we'd be able to see all of them.
All right.
Look, she's got it.
How's that?
Good.
Yeah, better.
Good morning, how are you?
It started in 1998 when a group of singing boys from Zambia came to sing at our church. We raised our hand. And that meant we were going to take two of the boys into our home. Our responsibility was to take them back to the church the next morning.
We had 5 children. The youngest was barely 6 months old. It was pretty much okay.
We thought this was going to be a great National Geographic, that we were going to be able to talk about lions and tigers and bears and things like this. But the conversation changed very quickly when they spent the night with us. What do you mean your parents are dying? People don't have a chance to go to school. And it caused us, especially my wife Judi, to be able to just really dig down deep and say, I'm interested in this. What's going on? How come this is really taking place in this country? Because we really didn't know where Zambia was on the map. We had no idea. And they sang, hopped on their bus, and left. We thought we would never see him. 6 months later, we get a phone call. Late in the evening. The voice was, "Is mom there?" And I knew from the voice, the inflection of the voice, that this is one of the voice from Zambia. Had her phone. So I handed the phone to Judi. The conversation was, "Where are you?" And the answer was, "We're in jail." The thing is that these children were promised, if you came to the United States, we would supply you with American education. We would cut CDs, become wealthy, we're going to send money back to your parents, and everybody's going to be happy. Well, that didn't turn out.
So we kind of got like the teenagers to go back and get newer ones who were younger. So they were considered back.
We took in 2 boys and found a home for one of the boys with our next door neighbor. And the boy that stayed with us, and in the sense, so he had 4 other brothers, and his family was our family. So our desire was to help his family. So we found a gentleman here who had access to a cell phone. He went communication skills. As time passed, as we were communicating, one gentleman in Zambia, my question was, in December, so it required much prayer, but we prayed about it. And it was 30 years, came back to us. And he just simply said that all he had this desire to start a little school for our children.
When we started, so that we could go to school, there were 100 orphans.
So in the year 2000, we started a little school, a rented building that was a tavern, and we started with 23 children on a dirt floor with a teacher, feeding program, hardly any books, and hardly any desks. We thought that we were God's plan in our life, and that was going to be it. We're going to have a little school in Zambia, we'll keep it nice and small, but God had a bigger plan.
And the children were meeting in the tavern for at least a year before they doubled, tripled in size. So we knew that we had to find a place to build a school. In 2004, we got a piece of land and started the first Vision, I hope, campus here in Catalogna, Zambia. It's going to be a little bit noisy and a little bit chaotic. This is like campus. Welcome. Nice to see you. Oh, it's good to meet you. How's school today? Oh, wow. Have you had lunch yet? All these children are coming from what we would call lack a stable environment. They might be living with an aunt or a guardian. Many of them have lost one or both parents. So this is a home for them. This becomes their home and their family where they're loved. So this goes through really quickly with so many parents and children needing a place to stay. So with that need, over the last 20 years, we've been able to plant another 4 schools throughout the country. So there's a total of 5 in different provinces, and there's about 3,200 children in those 5 schools. Our schools use the Zambian curriculum because the children are able to pass their exams. So we also teach through biblical worldview.
Best way out of extreme poverty is through education. So we can provide free education, free meals, uniforms, skilled teachers. These children are possible. They just need a chance. They just need a chance.
And also just tackling that broken heart and showing them how much more blessing. Then you can get a child, and you can teach them, and it changes community, and it changes country.
We see the fruit of it. Going back years ago, we would look at each other and say, are we really doing the right thing? Are we doing this right? My first graduation class was 2012. So that was really hard for us. If we see that first class succeed, and I saw the look on their eyes, one by one that came up to
And now those children are getting out. Teacher, doctor, lawyer, nurses, mommy, daddy, firemen, they're coming back to us. Bertels, 18 in high school.
even though this is a point here, we're just now saying the foundation. Of course, our goal is that more children in the state of education, even more children even more children can prosper in the country. There's no limit. We got it. There's no limit.
When we go, our pray, our give, our serve, our do all this.
I believe that the city birthed by the cry and the prayer of the children in Zambia.
Yes.
And we just answered that prayer. And I think you can join us in that.
There's a lot of work to be done. And this is the gift. So, I'm back, right?
Yeah. That's my sound just. Okay, so thank you for watching that. We're going to now move into a short PowerPoint where we're going to show some of the projects that Rotary has funded throughout the years and give you an update on some of those if we can.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for plugging into our evening Zoom meeting. These have become quite a unique thing for our ministry.
What is that?
We can talk to hundreds of people
X out of that.
while sitting in.
What?
Right there.
So my name is Bob Bertels.
Where?
Right there. See me talking right there?
And this is to my right.
How do I get rid of that?
This evening.
I just talked to that video that thing.
Most of you know.
I don't know how to get out of that.
She'll be speaking in a minute.
Are you where it came from? What is that?
Stop.
There.
Out of camera.
Stop sharing.
That's a continuation of the video that you're just playing. So just X out of that one.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you're going to share the PowerPoint.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
You did great, Judi. Very nice.
Where am I?
from beginning.
From
You're not in the beginning.
But is that,
Okay, back up.
is that shared? Can you see that, the Sundo?
Oh, no, not yet.
Oh my God, where's the screen share? Oh,
Yeah, at the bottom center, and then if you click on it, in the bottom right corner, there's show all windows. And that way you don't have to worry about which window you're trying to share with us. It would show us anything that you see on your computer.
okay, and the bottom window.
Yeah, you see the green share screen at the very bottom of the Zoom.
Green share screen.
And then once that window comes up, there's show all windows.
Okay.
Okay.
Now can you see it?
PowerPoint now. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so this picture was taken in October of 2020. And this was in Quasi Rotary Club that we visited one evening. I'm pretty easy to be able to pick out from the rest of the crowd there. This is how they dress for a Rotary meeting, right, Ms. Sunday? That's your brother-in-law?
Yes, that's true. That's how they do it over there.
Yeah, the big gentleman to the left-hand side of the screen. So we provided an update to that club because that club is the sponsoring club for a lot of our projects that come out of the Edwardsville Rotary Club. And so we gave them an update on some of the projects that we have worked on in the past and working on in the future. There's a lady sitting right in the middle in the front row, and she is the district governor for that area of Africa. She is district governor for 4 countries, Malawi, Mozambique, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. Her name is Lucy Kasanga. And she spoke that night. She wanted to have some updates also for some of the projects that we're working on, but it was a very nice evening. Yeah. So in this next picture is the gentleman with sunglasses. His name is Eric Duvert. Some of you might know him. He spoke at our club and he spoke at a district meeting in Springfield recently. In 2015, our club partnered with several other clubs out of Springfield and other parts of Illinois in what's called the VTT grant, a vocational teaching and training grant. And Eric is a former district governor, a high-level Rotarian. He farms about 3,000 acres, and he volunteered to head this project, which is separate from what African Vision of Hope does. But what his purpose was there was to teach, the saying that we use, let's teach a man to fish rather than giving him a fish. So his job was to teach Americanized farming to subsistence farmers there in Zambia, how to put in the right amount of fertilizer, when to plant, what kind of seed to use. And his goal was to, as well as the whole VTT team, was to put together, a program that would triple production. One of the projects, equipment that the VTT grant purchased over in the right-hand corner is these are actually planters. The planters that you see on that corner are pulled by oxen, not tractors. The lady, if you notice, she has a sprayer on the back of her back. 80% of the farmers, subsistence farmers, are women. And they do that to provide for their family. Most of their plots are somewhere between 2 to 5 to 10 acres, very small plots. And there were, last year, there were 45 people involved, or 45 farms, 45 owners involved with this next project. And now I understand when Eric came back in October of 2020, he said there'll be well over 100. And but this is what pulls the planter. These are 4-legged tractors. They don't need gas, they produce gas. Some of the crops you'll see on the right-hand side, this is what they really look like as they're growing. The ground there is not very fertile, red soil. It needs a lot of fertilizers and inputs. The maize is, let me talk a little bit about what the corn that's growing. They call that maize. One of their staple foods is shima. And shima is eaten with every meal throughout sub-Saharan Africa. It's just something that is a staple food for them. Just like in Asia, it would be rice. In sub-Saharan Africa, it would be corn or ground corn or maize, which we fed to our children in Zambia for many, many years until we moved to a different product. Next screen. Okay, in this picture video, you'll see that what they are eating right now is a fortified rice, enriched in fortified rice with some protein powders and other vegetables ground into it. This is the same product that you guys, we have put together, packaged on Saturday mornings, if you remember. I can't remember the last time that we've done that, but we've done it for several years, invited a lot of the clubs in, for different Rotary clubs to help us, and we produced about 10,000 servings in one Saturday morning. I don't know what the exact number was, but we as a Rotary Club are actually part of this program. We ship these over in containers. Each container has 265,000 meals inside that container. And that is what we're serving our children right now. One of our recent grants, as simple as it may be, but was for Rotary International is pushing really heavily for clean water and sanitation. In the back, you'll see a large toilet, basically for one of our schools. We build the toilets, and Rotary then installs or funds the installation of toilets, plumbing, things of that nature. The toilet that you'll see on the right-hand corner is a very simple thing, but it is flushable, which is life transforming to the school kids in our schools. It just has a lot to do with sanitation and the process of clean water and sanitation. It changes their life. Along with the clean water and sanitation is we installed hand washing stations. All of our schools have multiple hand washing stations, which we've taught the kids soap, water, things like this. During the time that the government required, because of COVID, that we had to close our schools, all the kids had to go back home and stay home. But we believe strongly in our hearts that the safest place for these children is at our schools, where they have clean water, clean drinking water, hand washing stations, and nutritious hot food. The next project that Rotary International helped African Vision Hope with is, we call them boreholes in Zambia, but they are wells. And you'll see this is actually the process of what it looks like when they start drilling a well. But before they start that, some of you may know this technique. They have to find where the water streams are. And these water streams are underground, at least 100 to 200 feet deep. Because these boreholes or this well will go down between 150 to 200 feet deep. But they will do what they call divining or water witching to find the exact location where they want to drill. I've seen this done multiple times. I don't know how it works, but it does. Okay, this is our another water project. If you see, there's a big holding tank that's about I think that's a 5,000 liter tank, provides water pressure for this building, and we call this building the House of Hope. It's a place of peace, repair, and growth for 45 to 50 young girls. We completed this project in 2019. And the girls that are in there were chosen to be there because they were in a really bad situation. They've been abused by someone. They need to be taken out of a home situation, which is not good for them. Some of them are in semi-slave situations where they don't have a way out. So we built this school especially for girls, and they create their own new families. In this next slide, you'll see a young girl by the name of Queen. She's 10 years old. And while we were there in October, we just saw the dilemma that she was in. Something that we're not very familiar with in the United States is what they call child brides. At some point in time, when the keeper of a female child decides that they want to receive money for a child marriage, they'll sell that female to, I don't want to say the highest bidder, but to someone who will pay for that child to be a wife. And usually that happens at age 12 to 14. She's age 10. We saw this coming. We visited her home. We decided to pull her and put her into the House of Hope. That's her new bed. She was so excited, and she's made a whole new group of friends. You'll see the next slide. This is her new family. They study together, they work together, they play together. Some of these young girls can't remember the last hug that they really have received or the time anybody has ever told them that I love you. So this represents their whole new family. Right behind the House of Hope is, this is a picture or drawing of our new STEM high school, which is yet to be built. This is just a drawing of what that's going to look like. In the country of Zambia, science, technology, engineering, and math is lacking a lot of times in our schools, even in the colleges there. So much so that they outsource a lot of the engineering projects to different countries, specifically China and now India. So when they want to put in a dam, a road, build a large government building, they don't have the necessary engineering experience to do that. So they outsource that a lot. Seeing that coming, this is going to be a STEM high school, which we plan on breaking ground later on in 2021. And it will be the start of something huge in Zambia. We visited 2 schools which proclaimed to be STEM high schools while we were there in October. And to be honest with you, they lacked in a lot of areas. Not to saying that we want to be better than them. We just want to be different. We want to attack the problem from a different angle. So we're starting right now and recruiting some very high level science, technology, engineering, and math teachers. And that's where we're going to start. This is me and our program director, Kennedy, standing actually on the ground where we're going to be building this. We're laying out the diagram of how the foundation is going to be laid, how far back, the setbacks, and things like that. To start the process in 2019, we wanted to show the children a series and show and teach the children the system called VEX Robotics. VEX is an international system for robotics. It's used here in the United States. And our first year in 2019 is headed up by my son-in-law, Mark, who is a top-level engineer at Boeing, 2 degrees in engineering and an MBA, and he wanted to head this up. It started off with how to assemble the robotics actual machines themselves, but part of that program was also to start learning how to program them. That was the hard part because most of these kids had never even touched a laptop, but they caught on very quickly. And the energy that they showed that first year was just amazing. They actually could make that robotic machine, whatever you want to call it, pick up things and travel across the room and drop it in a specific place. This is a young man here who's learning how to program these through a certain piece of software. In 2020, we are continuing with that program, and we had a couple of camps, 3-day camps that we're putting on, and the kids are just really absorbing that. This next slide is a experiment, I guess initially was an experiment where we were converting cargo containers into lab technology schools or classrooms. This is our first try at that, but part of what they're doing is they're learning programming and learning laptops and just the basic laptops. part of the program with the robotics and reversing a little bit is the fun part of competition, because some of the things that we want to do is we want to have competition between our schools, then move on to competition among the local government schools in the local area in Lusaka, Zambia, and then finally maybe even internationally. So we're just breaking the ground to some amazing things that these kids can do. This is an aerial view, a drone view of one of our schools in Chongwei. You can see in the lower right-hand corner is, again, one of those 5,000 liter tanks that supplies all the necessary water pressure for drinking, for flushable toilets, and for serving the children. You'll notice how rural that is. At this school, there are over 700 kids going from grade 1 through 12 who attend this school. If you notice, you don't see a lot of houses around there, but they come from all over. Some of the kids might walk an hour to get to this school. So it's just amazing how you can see kids prospering and going to college. This specific school had their first graduating class in 2015, and some of the kids have already been chosen to go into college. Here I am doing some leadership training. And the next slide is some of our statistics. You'll notice the top statistic is 885,000 meals that we served last year. So when I say that we have 264